Hello and welcome to today's video, and in this one we'll be doing another lot of squad reviews. For anyone new, this is where I give you my 5 years of experience playing the game and advise you on what I think you could do differently to improve your situation. So if you like this style of video, then make sure to leave your in-game ID in the comments and what area of the game you'd like to improve on. Whether that's to do better in your arenas or do better in your gem base, it really doesn't matter what it is, as long as you can put both in the comments, then you could be featured in the next episode. But do make sure you answer both, otherwise I won't be able to give you advice with the problems you're having. Now let's start off the video with the first person of the day, and that will be this one here. This person would like to improve their sustainability and which sets are going to be best for them. So let's start off with the first point, sustainability, and this will be more direct towards your archers since you have 3 of them in your 6-man team. And since sustainability can be covered in a few ways and you're from level 11, we'll have a look at your hero first. Firstly, because you use a lot of archers at the moment, I'd focus on upgrading your Pathfinder's Endurance, Vampiric Arrows, Conditioned by Magic and Vampirism first. This would increase your 3 archers' survivability, but also your team's overall health and damage. And as we all know, archers can deal a lot of damage, so these upgrades will work in both ways. The next thing I'd look to work on would be to put health, armor and magic armor gems on all of your fighters. You don't need to put all gems like dodge and crit onto your fighters, but if you're looking for more endurance with your team, then even adding level 1 blue gems out of the ones I've mentioned before will help you with this issue until you can work towards purple and legendary gems in the future. The last thing you wanted to know about was which sets you should be working towards. Now since you like your archers and you already have a 6-piece Eclipse to tank it, I would start to work towards a Bane or Ranger first. Now this is optional because it will depend on what you want to achieve. The Ranger will be better at keeping your team alive for longer by silencing 2 enemy mages for 9 seconds, or you could go with the Bane if you was wanting to go for more outright damage. And using this with the Dragonborn you already have, it will be great in defeating enemies if your archers can stay alive long enough. You might be wondering why I didn't recommend either the Mercenary or Raiders set, as they are the newer sets. But that's because, for one, I don't really know enough about the Raiders in combat just as of yet, and based off of my Mercenary set review, the Mercenary doesn't really do well in PvP fights, especially compared to the Bane. It would produce around 50% less damage versus players, and the healing just doesn't really account enough for the difference. But that's not the whole story with the Mercenary set, so if you did actually want to go for this and you wanted to see everything about it, then I would highly recommend to check out the video first before making your decision. Now from there, I would recommend to try and fit another tank in there somewhere, whether that was the Bastion for proper tankiness, or the Nameless King to really deal a good amount of damage back to the enemy. Again, I have a Nameless King review comparing to the Annihilator, which again is a good one to watch. Let's now move on to the second person of the night, and that will be this person here, who wants to improve in their arenas. I just wanted to say a big thank you to this person for being subscribed for over a year now. That's always awesome to see when I'm looking through the comments. Right, let's have a look at your squad, and similar to other squad reviews so far, I always come across people who are really strong across the board, so I'll do my best to try and improve your team. The thing that stands out the most will be your hero. Now, as of right now, you have a fairly decent hero, and I would say you're using the right relics, and most of the things are upgraded nicely, but I can see some things that would help you. So, firstly, because you have a Pyromancer and Dragonborn combo in your team, it's going to be crucial to help them out as much as possible, because they already deal a lot of damage. That means you should be looking to upgrade things like Bullseye, Piercing Shot and Deadly Accuracy before anything else. And because you use the Hustlneer in your team, that would also be highly recommended to go for as well because of its abilities to the whole enemy team. And just to be clear for all players watching this, I would recommend to upgrade other things as well like Sniper, Vampiric Arrows, Double Shot and Enchanted Quiver, but the others are the most crucial to getting done first. I would also save up your Warrior and Mage tokens and only buy the relics you use for now, as each upgrade will massively increase your team's performance. Moving away from your hero and towards your squad, I can see the odd item that could do with reforging to improve its abilities, so I'll do a quick fire round of the things that could be sorted when you get the time and the reason why. First off would be the Eclipse Armor Soul, and I know that's not going to be easy to upgrade the Eclipse, but if you can upgrade it to the point where it's increasing its health by 55% instead of 50, that will actually have a big impact because of its max health already. The next would be the Darkulus main armor. This is because the stats are on the lower end, and your rune on the ring is affected by the Darkulus max health, so remaking this item will work in both damage and survivability. And lastly, the Paladin main armor could do with some improvement. This is on your Dragonborn combo, and since the armor is somewhat in the middle of its stats, an upgrade will definitely be needed for the level of people you would fight. And since the armor works off max health again, this improvement will work in multiple ways. That's all the rebuilding you'll need to do for now, but the last thing you'll want to do with your squads is just to keep upgrading your totems past level 30, which I'm sure you're doing already based off previous totems, and just keep an eye out for any event ones that come around in the future to replace your basic ones, like you have with the growth totem here. For anyone watching this, if you like what you're seeing so far, then make sure you do hit that like button if you're enjoying these sorts of videos, and get subscribed if you want to be featured in the future as well. And make sure to share this with your friends if they're in need of some help, even if it's not relevant information to them, it will still be good to learn for the future. Right, let's move on to the last person of the day, and that'll be this one here, and they want to have more damage and health on their side, so apart from the obvious, let's see the best approach to this. So a great place to start is to actually organise your gems just a little. I can see you want your Annihilator to be the best fighter in your squad right now, but if you want to have more damage in your team, I would actually focus on your Dragonborn more so with the legendary gems you have, and that's including the health and armor gems. The advice would be slightly different if you had a Dragonborn combo of some sort, which is what I would normally recommend to go for, but since you have a pure 6-piece set, it would need all the protection it can get. So even if you just fill it with health and armor gems for now, I'm sure you'll actually see a big increase in damage, and that's because it will actually be able to stay up longer and use its high damage abilities. Most people slack on the protection on their archers and just assume their lack of damage is down to their gems or hero, when in fact it's just because they're dying early in battle, so just keep an eye out for this. Now the next thing you'll want to work on is your non-set piece fighter. I can see you'll probably want to keep the Tomb Raider Alliance alive, so here's my 3 suggestions. You can either go for the Illusionist to try and replicate the Dragonborn or Shadow Fighter, whoever the Illusionist picks at that time, and this will increase your damage massively by having an additional fighter on your side. You could either go for the Ice Angler for damage and healing with the main abilities they use from their set, this will also affect the whole team in a good way with the additional healing, or you could go for pure healing in the Darkula, which again will make it feel like your team have a lot more health with its frequent healing. It will have a small amount of damage, mainly from the start when it can push back some of the damage, as long as it can stay alive when that happens. So it will depend highly on what you prefer and what you're looking for in your team. The last bit of advice I would say is to always use your Sorcerer's Hat where possible. Currently you have 3 mages in your team, so this will help out greatly. And I would replace it for the Banner of Glory flag until you know you can win most of your battles without the hat for now. One little tip as well is to upgrade your health stars on your hero, as they are a little low at the moment, but I know this can take some time and it's just something to keep in mind. But for everyone else, the rune event is around the corner, so get yourself subscribed if you haven't already, as I will be giving you my best tips on how to get the most runes possible and what you should expect from this event if it is your first time around. And even though the tower hasn't been out for a huge amount of time yet, if you need to know any questions before I come around to making a video on it, then make sure to leave them down below for myself or other experienced players to answer it. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you like this one, it could be worth checking out the first squad review to see what sort of tips I gave into those ones. And here are the 2 set reviews I mentioned about previously if you want a more in-depth review on the choices I've made in this video.